Good evening. Welcome again to the 29th episode of the Amiga Raytracing webcast. Before we begin, there are two announcements I would like to make. Number one is from the new year, the first Monday of year 2021. The time of the webcast is going to be moved at 1 hour later, which would be in GMT at 7 o'clock, 1900 hours GMT. Okay, so we have one more week where we'll be running at the same times. After that, the show will be running at 1900 hours GMT. Okay, that was number one. Now, number two, I would like to remind you once more about the Amiga Ireland creative contest competition, if I may be more accurate, where you can go to amigausers.ie. Okay, amigausers.ie, and there you can enter the creative competition. If you scroll a bit down, so there you will have a line that says to enter the creative competition for 2021, visit this link. And while visiting this link, you get this informative page that shows you the categories where one can submit his art, where there is a music category, a pixel art category, and a 3D ray tracing category. Okay, so I mean, why not just send whatever comes to your mind, and I think the submissions are, yeah, the closing date for the entries is January the 12th 2021. So you have say a couple of weeks to enter the competition. Okay, that's what all about the announcements. Good evening, Jarla from Amiga Ireland. By the way, we were talking just about now about the creative competition. Yeah, that's about it. So without further delay, let's go on with our course. Okay, let me deactivate this one. Now we have my Amiga on the screen, and let's get right to layout and continue where we left off last week. Okay, so last week we went and created, let me see what's going on here, episode 29. So last week we went up to the point where we had our spaceship, where we created wait a minute, there we created some gears slots here, one thing I have to point out here, I tried to use the object that has, let me show you here what is going on now. I think this was stage I perhaps. So as you can see, this is the final stage in the form of our spaceship. This contains triangles, so this is the last stage in our subdivision process, where we know that okay, this is the most refined form. I'm gonna stop there. So my last stage in our in my subdivision is going to be triangles. So if you can remember, I press O, then select triangles, and then I perform the last subdivision stage. I did some trials last week after the conclusion of our show, when I did some I had my final form, even the 5th stage of my subdivision. Oh, good evening, Anthony. Welcome. So my last stage of the subdivision was quads as well. So I went ahead and created, started creating my form, creating some details, and then I noticed that the shadows were not being displayed correctly on quads, especially quads that can very easily become a non-planar, okay, degenerates. So that is why, if I have my 4 states here, I just push on triangles and metaform. Let's say I keep my value as before, and then go on and create my last stage. Okay, so as you can see, this is the final stage, which has the triangles, same as this, but without the details, which is also a very nice, a very useful process to keep each subdivision's object, so that to have all the stages where I can intercept any details that I don't like, go back, stage 3, let's say, or stage 2 even, stage 1, and do it all over again, which is very useful and far more preferable than to go on and do, say, 5 subdivision stages without having saved all the previous ones. Okay, so bear that in mind. Now, having discussed this, let me go back to our next episode's tools, when we started using the Boolean tool. Okay, the Boolean tool, I can show you first of all what it can do, which is very interesting. Let's say I have a cube. Oops, sorry, undo. Quads again. Very nice to work with quads if you have planar polygons. Anyway, I have this little cube, and I want to say I want to create a rectangle hole inside. So let's say I want to do this. Okay, so these 2 layers together will be like that. So I want to create a hole where my template layer exists. Okay, so this is how I do it. In the foreground I have my base object, and in the background I have my layer, my template. Okay, and I go on and create a Boolean and say subtract. I want you to subtract where my 2 objects meet. Great, so this is amazing, and I have created and the Boolean has created what I wanted from the beginning. And we think we are done here with the Boolean, but no, we're not done yet, because the Boolean has a very how to say it, serious defect, fault, or whatever you can call it, that it may not be present in future Lightwave versions, and I'll show you what it is. Here I have my object in wireframe, so that you can see it better when I'm selecting points. Let me do that. Yes, so here's my object after it has been holed, it has been drilled with the Boolean, anyway, for example. So if I select this point here, it will show me that it is a point. But if I see my selector here, it will say that there are 2 points. So there's something going on here. So let me see some points here that were not affected by the Boolean. No, this is one. Here, well, this is two. That's very strange. And this is what I've been telling you now. And you had, the patrons had a message about that by me that I forgot to discuss in the previous episode. So you can see that Boolean leaves some waste points here. 2 points here, 2 points here, instead of being just 1 point. So, okay, there. Let us see if the polygons behave the same. So now I should have 2, hold on. No, they're just 2, surfaces are okay, but polygons are okay, but points, they tend to double when I play the Boolean. So what's the remedy for that? Pressing M, which is merge points. Okay. And just leaving it as it is, automatic, 8 points eliminated. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these 8 points that were created during the Boolean operation are now merged as they should have been. Okay, so now if I select, I get only 1 point. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Here, once more, I am undoing everything. And so whenever we use Boolean, let's do a union now. Okay. That's going to be the same. So you see here, these points here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, that are joined by the Boolean, the operation, there are doubled. So they're 2 again. Again, merge. Okay. So this little tool here, whenever we invoke it, subtract, okay, immediately we press M and then enter. So that's it. So a Boolean operation is actually two steps. Okay, drill the object, clear the double points, merge the double points. Okay, any questions on that? Great, all good. Again, I did an intersect. I again have 2 points, and then I eliminate them. Okay, so that's about it. Now the merge points tool, it can be found as well here. Tools, merge points, and you can do some interesting things about it. I'm not going to delve much about on that tool, but I'm gonna go through the various choices we have here. So the automatic just merges points that exist on the same coordinates only. Okay, for example, I can make you a nice example here. Let me create a box. Let's say a box here, there, and let's create it like make it a cube. So if I create this box here and I want, let's say I want these guys here to get merged in the middle, and with the select set value tool, I tell every point to meet at x0 and again z0, and now you have a nice pyramid. Okay, but you have 4 points here, but you know that all 4 points exist at the same coordinates. So, and that you can verify by info. So if I go now, I have all these points. Now you can see, you know, yeah, it doesn't show that it is changing, you know, but you know, they are there. Anyway, and now I have them all there, and merge, and 6-point merged. Now it's 1. Why 6, by the way? Two here, 2 here, 4 here. Automatic, 6 points. Anyway, that's that now that's a mystery. Ah, that's why, maybe. Hold on. Straight, that should be 3. Or maybe not. Yes, they do. You can have non-planners that, let's say, you have your camera. Let me just reiterate the question. Anthony is asking, apart from when morphing, do extra points affect rendering? And the answer is yes. If you're unlucky, unlucky, then the camera is going to intercept the object at an angle that you may have flashes of your surface just there where you have your where you have performed the boolean. So yes, it is kind of dangerous to happen, you know. So and it's also, you know, it's a very nice practice. You have to that you can optimize the object and leave, you know, just tidy it up, take the waste away. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, okay, yeah. Then you can avoid you know, awful surprises just like that. Anyway, just let's leave that example on. Anyway, I just now, you know, I'll just research that a bit more. Now let's get back to our object. Is our object here? Okay. Now we did in last episode we also had created our gear covers. Okay, so this is my gear covers. These are the gear covers, and this is my ship. So together they create, you know, you have the full spaceship with the covers on. So to illustrate that a bit more, we can go here, and I already created a scene where you have the object, our spaceship, and then loading the gear covers, let's say stage 3, and then I can create a nice little animation, like 2-frame animation with the no, wait, sorry, no, here. So at 0, I'm going to be having no gear covers, gear bay doors or something, yeah, and at frame 1, my doors will be visible. So this is the dissolve envelope for my gear covers stage 3. Okay, so let's see what is going to happen. So let me frame 0, and oh no, wait, the camera is doing some crazy stuff there. Yes, so let me move that to frame 2, and let me move that to frame 1. So once more, frame 0, no covers, the covers are on dissolve 100%, and frame 1, the covers are on, so the object appears seamless. Okay, so now we will try to create to design an animation for our covers, how they are going to be deployed and moved back to their position. First of all, having it here, let's say in order to create different animations, I have to take the object apart into three. Let's say I have 3 parts into 3 parts. So first of all, I am taking this and I'm pressing cut with X into a new layer, paste, and then I am taking, now let's see which is the there. I think this is the right one and this is the left one. So I'll just do that. No, it doesn't work like that. Let me see now first. And it's correct. This is the right one and this is the left one. So let me see. Yes. Now I've chosen the right one. X, layer 4, V for paste. And this is the left one. So layer 2 is the left one, layer 3 is the front one, and layer 4 is my the right my right gear cover. And let's say I'm ready with my texturing, my surfacing. I think we were ready. Yes, I am going to save them up as giving appropriate names. So gear cover, this is the left one, saving that. Now the reason we have to do that is because we cannot animate them independently otherwise. Okay, gear cover front, and oops, sorry, gear cover right. Okay, so let's go to layout and see what we've done. Now we have the gear covers stage 3, which is all the covers, okay, together as in one object. And we can start by either clearing, let's say clear my object there, and then we can load out our new objects that we have created. So let's go first the front one, then the left one, and then the right one. Okay, now there is something that you should be aware of. These objects are not centered. They are placed so that in their default position, if the spaceship is also in the default position, that they would fall exactly where they should, as the spaceship's covers. So let me see there. So all you have to do now is go to each gear cover, say here, and select its parent to be the space shuttle. There, one, left, again the shuttle, the space shuttle, the shuttle, yeah, the interplanetary shuttle. There. Okay. So let's see now what we did. Let us render an image and see if we perfect. Okay. This is what we can achieve by doing that. Now, let me start by animating them. Now this, the whole process of building an object is, once you get acquainted and you can do your tools, you can use your tools adequately. You start by designing things first. You can say, you can take a piece of paper and write with a pen or pencil and start designing. Okay, how are, for example, my covers going to be moving? Are they going to be moving like that? Are they going to be going inside and being drawn? See, and so on. So in this case, I think we can we can have these two, going up a bit and then being dragged to the center of our shuttle axis, and these can be, actually we can divide that into two, and so that each part is going to be going just a bit inside and then opening like that. Okay, and coming back again. Okay, so that is our design. Let's say, yeah. We can either, we can also say design it so that they will be doing like that, and opening towards outwards, so that to leave their gears. But let's keep it simple just for this, this time. Okay. Now let's see what we can do with that. The pivot point should not be a problem, but yeah, should not be a problem. Just write this here. So first we want my object to, let's say all my objects to be to sit still for the first 20 frames. So I'm going to frame 20. No, first of all, let me save that shuttle gear doors animated there. Okay, and now let's see. I want, first of all, the camera is also, leave it at that. We don't care. Not yet. We don't care yet about the camera. And now we have, let's see, gear cover right. Okay. First of all, we go to frame 20 and create a, no, let's do each one. Selected item. Create an anchor frame for all three gear covers. Okay, so I want them to sit where they are up to frame 20. And also I want to keyframe 20 to have them as linear here. So I'm pressing S or spline controls here and pressing on linear. Here, cover right, linear. What that does is that it anchors, actually it interpolates the intermediate frames, the frame up to the current frame, and linearizes the motion, so that otherwise Lightwave should it looks ahead of the framing of the keyframe in question and interpolates more organically, more curvy. But we are going to look into that later. Okay, so for now we just press on linear. Okay, save once more, and now let's say now we start doing stuff. There. Visibility is not that good, so I will go ahead and tell shuttle C2 to be rendered in points only. Yes. Now visibility is much better. Okay. So I have this one here. The Z-axis is not of interest to us, so I will just turn it off, so that I won't do any, you know, any motions to the Z-axis by accident. And now from frame 20, I just tell this little guy here, too much. You can just find experimentally, say, okay, just a bit there, which is the y-axis. Actually, no, let me disable the x-axis as well. So let's say 10 centimeters, and that should go to frame 25. Frame 25. So frame 20, nothing happens at frame 20, but frame 20 to 25, I have a slight motion upwards. Okay. Now do the same thing for all other covers. Since now, no, wait a minute. Can I duplicate? No, I can't. I cannot duplicate them. So let's just do it the old-fashioned way. Numeric this time, 0.1 on the y-axis, and double enter. 1, 2. And for the gear cover front again, 0.1, 25, frame 25 again. Okay, so what have we done so far? 20, now everything starts moving there, 25, there. Okay. Now I want a pause between 25 and 30. Okay, so now I will just go to 25, enter, and press 30 for the selected object. Okay, it's done. And going back to the next object, 30, next object, double, first enter, 30, second enter. Okay, so what has is done now? Let me first clear and say to the camera, don't do stuff there, stay there. So $25, stay there. Now this is important. I can show you what is happening between 20 and 30. Okay, we are going to be going very, very slowly. If I play it back, you are going to be seeing that I wanted from 25 to 30 that the covers should be still, but there's some motion going on there. And faster. So there's something spooky going on here. And the reason that, you know, Lightwave tries to say, okay, you had this motion here and you're doing this up to frame 10, let's say. Frame 20, you want your object to stay there. But since you did this motion, I have to interpolate and do something like that, so that it will seem more organic. So we don't want that right now. So that is where the linear selection on the spline controls comes in. Okay, that is why we did it before in our frame 20, and now why we are going to be doing that again. So frame 25, spline controls, linear again. for all three objects. So spline controls, linear, and the front cover, again, linear. That we can do for frame 30, I think, because yes, because there is some motion here. Again, spline linear. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Yes. There. See, did we do it correctly? Yeah, no motion here. Okay. So now we are up to frame 30. Now we want things to start again, moving again. I want this cover to go here, this cover to go here, and the front cover, we'll see about the front cover, how we will be accommodating that. So, frame 30. Let's say we want 20 frames, 30 plus 20, 50. So at frame 50, I want my object to come here, say. No, that's, or perhaps maybe do something more elaborate, perhaps rotate that. Let's see how that will look. There. And a bit there. Oops, too much. Somewhere there. I think that should be better. Let's see what we've done. Let me. That could work. That could work. The problem is that our pivot point doesn't let us do much because it's not here. You know, I can't control it right now being here. We can do it, of course, but let me follow the. We can follow the curvature of my of the object and say, okay, there, and then see what we did. Okay, so let me. That could actually work. I'm bringing back the visibility for my object. No, that's not what I want. I want it to be solid. Yeah, there. And see what we did. 30, 50, say, 55, to give some leeway. No. No, I don't want that. I don't like that actually. So let us delete this keyframe. Delete. As if nothing happened. You know? There. Let us go according to our old plan. Our previous plan was that that should fold here. So let me do just that. There. Okay, so say 1.5 at 50. And spline controls. Let's keep it not non-linear. No, we can try some more stuff. And this one minus 1.5 meters there. And see what that achieved. That is cool. Whole thing. Okay. Saving that. And let us do a frame for that to show. Yep. Anyway, we have to curve a bit more here, but anyway, it doesn't matter anyway. Not yet. Nice. We can of course refine the movement and say I want my panel to follow the curvature of the, do something like this, something like this here, and say I want that to go to 50. Now I have a little more elaborate motion to show. So if we say, let me take it back to only points, that there, not now, that is going to be there. So you can see here this motion that I did just now follows the curvature of the form of my shuttle, and it shows that this panel here is more flat and more flat aligned here. So what I can do to duplicate that into the left one or the right one, I don't know which one. Yeah, so in order to duplicate the motion from the left one to the right one, I can just see minus 1.3 and 0.3 on the y-axis. So let's see, right, and see 0.3, 1.3 and 0.3, which is not correct. Yeah, this is correct actually, but there is some rotation going on here. Okay, so the left one is minus 7.2 degrees. So this one should be plus 7.2 degrees on our bank angle. 7.2 degrees, and it's right there where it should be. Okay, so we do that, a keyframe as well, and then gear doors animator. Let us save and see once more what we have achieved from 0 to 55. Great. Now we can create that as well. Let me just tell this panel to fold towards the back, and so I'm just selecting that, changing my angle. Let's say here, I want it to be here, and I want it to, let's say 30, 50. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it doesn't have a 50 keyframe yet. Anyway, moving. Now we move it along the z-axis, and we just there. Let's say, I think it's enough. Now, there is the outline of my there. I think that is adequate. 50. No, sorry, cancel. So yes, I already did a 50. Yes. Okay, let me see once more what. Save first, and again. Oh, wrong. So let's see, 50 plus there. Oh, oops. Plus 3.5, 50. Once more, make preview. That's what we done Whoop. Okay, so let us see how that looks like. Haha. That does not follow the form of my spaceship now. Let's see what angle I can use. Yes, here. So there. Let me see if by just doing a simple translation towards the y-axis, it can solve the things there. See, now that is correctly out of the way. 50. And yeah, checks out just fine here. Now I just have to see the intermediate part. So the 30 there. You know, you can do test renders now and see, let's say F40. Yes, it is still inside the form. I think that would check just fine. Frame 45. Same. No offending polygon there. And let's say frame 35. No offending polygon there. So I think that it could be safe to say, you know, oh, okay, that should do. Now, this motion here, you know, it doesn't look that, you know, this is too linear. So let's say I want my motion to have a braking effect in the end. Okay, so let's say that is start folding, but in the end it will be breaking into 0, you know. How do we do that? And the answer lies to spline controls again. So changing into gears. Let me see, did I free? Yes, I did free that. So if I go to the last frame, okay, what is really helpful is, of course, you can start experimenting with some values here. I think the tension value is, no, I don't remember. So, but a more graphical and easier way to do that is by going to the motion graph sub window here. So you have clear motion, load motion, save motion. That is for later. We can adjust them later. So the only thing we're going to be touching here, first we're going to be seeing the velocity of our object that we want to animate, actually. And we see here that there is a yeah, so we want this, you know, 0 meters per frame. Then at frame 20 it becomes somewhat like 0.01. Then it stops again, the pause we had performed, and then it jumps to 0.15. So we want this curve here in the end to start falling gradually instead of staying there. Okay, so there are some ways we can do that. Let's say, first of all, cancel changes. First of all, let's look at this panel here. This goes into Z-axis. So if we go back to motion graph, we're going to current channel Z position. Now we have this here. Now this is a better way to see how my object is moving and how to create a curve here that will shelf into staying here. So we want a curve here. or even here, but let's start by doing that. So spline controls, you can do say 1. You know, spline controls are from -1 into 1. So -1 did the trick here. So you see that if I do 0, it's linearly, you know, it stops abruptly. But if I do tension 1, it might have the wanted effect. So by pressing OK and then make a preview again, let's see if that, yeah, it is more. Let me slow motion that a bit. Yeah, and it breaks into stages, you know, that's, yeah. We might want to go back and see how we did that. Okay, so we did spline control tension 1. Let's see if this is going to help the other 2 panels. Now these panels are moving towards the x-axis. Okay, and I think, oh yes, x-axis, and a little bit they have a bank angle thingy. Yeah, anyway, but I think in this version of Lightwave, spline controls affect all channels, unfortunately. But anyway, this is not something that hinders us right now. So by doing tension to everything, let's say, we can see the effect here, this curve here again, and our right one, motion graph, I have this keyframe selected, spline controls 1 there. Okay, now let's see what we did for, so this one, and slow motion, there's a there's a short breaking. Okay, now we can, of course, by taking it and optimizing it even further, we can, via the motion graph, say heading angle, let's say, where were we? There. So you see the curve here, of course, and the curve here, of course. Okay, now we can optimize it even further by having the braking action happen from frame 50 and end at frame, say, 55. So what we can do is we can move this part here, let's say only this frame, and shift it towards the positive time, towards +5 frames. And how do we do that? We can actually shift the keys, you know, and tell it, okay, I'm at current frame 50, low frame and high frame. Since I want only frame 50 to be manipulated by shifting it, I want low frame and high frame to be the same value. Okay, now that will affect only frame 50. Now shifting frames by 5 or shift values by 5. So this value is what is going on on the axis. So I don't want to hurt that. I just want to hurt the time, which is the frames here. If I wanted to happen earlier, I would be like -5. That would happen at frame 45 instead at frame 50. But now I want it to go forward in time, so it will be +5. Okay. And now this value became 55. There's no frame at 50 anymore. Okay. Any questions on that? Motion graph. I'll just duplicate that to the other two objects while you can ask me. Shifting frames by 5 again. Same, use motion. And here, same stuff. Shift. Let me see if I have. Great. There. 50. Nope. Five. There. Using motion. Yeah, of course there is. I can show you. Yeah, I remember that you also had you had made a comment on in a, I think it was episode about the animation, right? I'll show you in a bit. Let us see first how these these gear bay doors work just now. There. Okay, so now there's a braking action, and just to show you also, Anthony, yeah, motion graph, and in the motion graph where you already have the keyframe in question selected, first you can navigate with you can navigate the keyframes by using the right and left cursor keys, and you can navigate the channels by using the up and down cursor keys. Okay, see here, there, oops, sorry, yep, oh, yep, oh. And spline controls, they can also be manipulated real time without having to come in here by their T, C, and B keys. So T for tension, I keep tension pressed, and I just move my mouse, left mouse button in say left mouse button holding and going right and left with my mouse. Okay, so this, and we can see what the tension does in real time, for example. Okay, now continuity, same thing. That shows nothing because I don't have a keyframe after that. So if I have this frame and I press on C, continuity, and create stuff, now there's something going on there. Okay. You can also see that nothing's happening in this part of my curve because this is where I have pressed linear on. So linear, when you press linear, the spline controls do not work for the curve before the keyframe in question. Okay, so if I press linear here, and continuity, if I depress linear and I press and start playing with continuity, you are going to be having this. Now there's a bounce, a spike there. See? No spike here. Spike there. Okay. And the same goes for bias. B bias. Bias affects the first part of the curve before my keyframe. Okay, spline controls again. Let me resume, put them again. No, wait, that was 0 and that was linear. There. Okay, if I want to, of course, I can optimize my motion even further by having it to tend to hold its position in the beginning, like giving a soft start. Okay, so soft start, soft end, you know, you have the tension that tends to keep the curve to, you know, in the last frames, you know, breaking, having a braking action, or, you know, a smoothing action towards the position where the object is at. Okay, so I just don't want that actually here, and I can do, yeah. Now I have this very nice curve here. Okay. Let me see that again. Actually, do we have time for that? No, I have, this is the, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and let us watch that from the beginning, what we did. Yeah. There. Okay. So that is our gear doors, gear bay doors folding, so that our gear is going to be deployed next. Okay. Let me save that for you guys. Oh yeah, one more thing. Let's say I am here in layout and I press help. I have all my keys, you know, all my shortcut keys for just this screen. If I go into motion graph, for example, and I press help again, now this is different. Okay, there's a different help panel, and you can see here TCB, adjust tension, adjust continuity, adjust bias. So depending on which window is active, you have different keyboard shortcuts. For example, here in surfaces, you have some other keyboard shortcuts. Okay, first surface, last surface, select previous next. You're closing the control panel, and so on and so on. Okay, let's say camera. What does camera have? Open motion graph, close control panel, not much stuff. Record, set starting position, close, yeah, and so on. Lights, for example, and select first light, select, and so on. Okay. Any questions? Yeah. It's something that you know, it took me also some time to realize. So depending on where you are, the help key brings up a window-based keyboard shortcuts for each panel, you know, that is active. Okay, so here is my, you know, here are the I just put some motion blur here, you see, nicely giving a soft shadow. Anyway, yes, so that was it for today. I'm saving all objects here and saving the scene for you guys. If you want, you can animate it, of course. Let me see, do I have anything more here? No, let's just deactivate this and then save. So that's about it for today. That was, you know, today we did some modeling and then some animation. We went into spline controls. which is very, very interesting. And at some point we can duplicate the bouncing Boeing ball effect I have on the intro, so that you can see there are some other spline options there. Okay, thank you again, guys. Have a good night, and see you next week for the year's last episode. Yeah, and last but not least, shout out to our patrons, George Socanos, Volquero, Midwan, Yarla, Anthony Jarvis, GS, and Todd Chamberlain. Thank you, guys. Have a good night and take care. Bye bye.